Hello, this is Neil Valentine speaking for Live Like Christ Ministry and Behold Your God Ministry. I'm going to show you the mulching finished, but we've got the dragon fruit flowers out here this morning. Aren't they beautiful? And you can see this is the female part here, and this is the male part. The pollen around the outside and the female part in the middle. If you want to hand pollinate these, because sometimes in some places you won't have the right insects to get them in the night, because mostly they're out in the night. These would have been wider open in the night, but now they're closing up in the morning. So what you can do, you can get a brush and brush on here and then brush on there. Or else you can just, this is what I do, just pull some off and just put it on the female part. That's if you don't see any insects or there's no pollination going on. If pollination is failing, and if you looked at my fingers here, you'd see that there's a fine pollen on my fingers. You see it there? Well, if you just brush over these like that, you'll get the result you're after, because it'll just drop off onto the stigma. The female part, I think. So these ones are starting to colour. It's a couple of days since we did the other video, so they're colouring now. So they'll be ready in about another week. So down here I've got a young berry, which is a bit like a boysenberry, but so many things to do, I didn't get it to climb up this trellis. So I'm going to try and do something about it now, seeing it's growing. And even at this stage we can get something happening with it. And so we pull this up out of the grass. And just thread it through. The tip's been cut off when I mowed, but that won't matter too much. We'll grow another one. So we should still get some fruit off this. A bit prickly, that's why I'm wearing gloves. They're amazing, they will grow across the ground and then they'll grow into the ground again. So once you get in a situation like this, once you've cleaned up a bit, then you can mow the ground underneath or put mulch on it to smother the weeds. So when you're doing farming, you'll have some failures sometimes, but that's all a part of farming. You try and minimise how many failures you have, but you will be failures. Here we have just a piece of dragon fruit that's been in the ground for 12 months. It was a really big piece that snapped off in the wind. And so I stuck it in the ground, and after 12 months, maybe 18 at the most, that has got 2 fruit on it. This might be another one. I think it's a failed fruit. But 2 for that size is really good. And that's because it's a good thick one. It's really good. Okay. So we're back where I was doing the mulching the other day, and we've completed it now, or I have. We used 2.5 loads to finish this, so we'll show you around a little bit. I also put some pellets, chicken manure composted pellets around these trees as well to try and stimulate the growth. But this is a mandarin tree here. It's doing really well, a lot of fruit on it, and the figs, and then the yellower mandarins showing they're nitrogen deficient. While I had the mulch here, I did these tomatoes too, which are needing some boost, and that helped keep the weeds down in them. And I fertilised them too to get them growing better. So down the bottom, all the citrus are all mulched, and these kiwi fruit and the passion fruit and the grape at the end. It's quite a thick mulch on there, and that will make quite a difference for a while. And it will seal in the moisture, provide some nutrients as it breaks down, and protect the plants from the heat of the sun, protect their roots from the sun. So that's about it. So thank you for watching, and get into your garden. Seek to move out of the city and get into your own gardens, or a group of you could get together and buy a plot of land, or use a plot of land that one of you owns. And if you come from a village, for instance, the village could get together, or the young men in the village, or the young woman or something, and they could have 1 acre or 2 acres or 5 acres or 10 acres and get their fruit and veggies going. So get into it. Okay. So this is a small longan tree. It's related to the lychee. Very similar in size inside, but it's a smaller fruit normally. That's not ready yet. That will get another half bigger than that. This is only a seedling one, and this I put here because I had nowhere else to put it at the time, and it's done surprisingly well for its size. It's stunted, but it's sent up a good spray of fruit, whereas the ones that I grew better over the other side, they're about twice the size, but they never fruited. So the longan is a nice tasting fruit. It's normally associated with China and Southeast Asia. Now this one, I noticed this the other day, has some these little sap-sucking insect or sap suckers on the leaves, and they take out a lot of goodness. So for that we spray with an oil. You can use a vegetable oil with a little bit of soap in it. Just a You don't need much oil at all, and blend it with some water and spray it on. Maybe just a teaspoon to a litre, something like that, or half a teaspoon to a litre. Add some soap and spray that on in the early morning or the afternoon. Don't spray it on in the heat of the day because it will burn. You can get white oil you can buy as well, or you can just squash them if you like too. But normally you'll find there's ants. There'll be ants who are farming them. Yeah, here's an ant here. Saw him somewhere. But anyway, these trees I put along here. There's avocados, longan, custard apples, macadamias. They're all seedlings. They're just seed I grew myself, and I put them on along here as a barrier because we get frost here, and I'm trying to protect these bananas, which are growing beautifully at the moment. So my plan is that these trees will grow up to higher than the bananas, and when they do, that will probably block the frost out from these bananas. But as it is now, last year was a really good year and they didn't get frosted at all, so they're doing beautifully at the moment, and soon they'll be throwing bunches. But normal years they might get 2 frosts that will hit the top of them and really mess them up. So we're growing things here that are difficult to grow in this climate. So here also we've got another line of trees and shrubby plants, once again to protect the bananas. I've got wattle trees, which I found were the best for this purpose. They grow really fast. They're a native to Australia, and I tried to grow moringa for the same purpose. I tried to grow tree lucerne, and neither of them grew here. They just didn't want to grow very well. I do have a little bit of moringa growing, but for this purpose these wattles have really taken off, and they will provide shelter eventually. So this is something, by next year they'll be way up there as high as the bananas probably. I'm also using these pigeon peas. They're doing well too, especially when it rains. They just keep growing and growing and growing, and they will provide a bushy mass along here. So we'll have the avocados, the custard apples, the longan, macadamias, and then we'll have this row here, which is good for cut and drop. So what we do is the permaculture idea, but actually tribes people have been doing it for thousands of years, where you allow the trees to grow and then you cut them and drop them at the base of the trees, and that provides mulch and nutrients. If you look down here on this side, once again you can see that we have quite a mulch here. I've been putting mulch here. It's beautifully wet underneath, of leaves and sticks and wood, grass under here, and then I just threw some other bits and pieces that I've been cutting back under here as well. So we'll put more mulch here. When this grows up high enough, we'll cut these back once a year and throw it down here. And that will help to feed these bananas. The soil just here on this side of the hill is a little bit rocky. Bananas like lots and lots of water. So we want to increase the ability of the ground to hold moisture. And so this is what we've done to try and protect these bananas. We had corn growing in here, this little patch here. We had a little patch of corn which is finished, and this is where we grew some cherry tomatoes last year. The cherry tomatoes came up in the corn, so we didn't pull them all out. When the corn's finished, we've just let this patch produce a few little cherry tomatoes. And you can see this patch has produced about half of what you have here. Just these ones growing wild, they just came up in the corn, and so look what we got. These little delicious little cherry tomatoes. And we haven't got the big ordinary tomatoes yet. We're still waiting for them to come on. So in the meantime, we can eat these. So if we see something good that comes up accidentally in the garden, or we see weeds sometimes that are edible, we use them. So in this case, it's these yummy little cherry tomatoes. So here we've got a boysenberry, and there's some more fruit down here. Some more down here, and you'll notice that I've done the same thing here as I did with the citrus trees. I put this thick mulch down here on the grass, and that just smothered a big heap of weeds that was sitting there in the road, and that gives me time to get my crop. Because as I said, we don't have a lot of time to spend in the gardens, but we do want to get some fruit. So if we have a look at the dragon fruit now, this is the one I showed you last time. And it had about 50 little flowers, little bumps on it. And now a lot of those came and produced a fruit. We have fruits here. We counted them, there's almost 20 fruit on the tree now. And there's another 20 flowers here. These will come out in the next couple of days probably. They really like this kind of weather. They love the rain. And so this is doing well. And as I said, if you can pull these branches or growths downwards, you get more fruit off them. They're leaning. Okay, let's go. This is a fig we got off these trees just now. It's a little bit maybe too ripe, but it'll be beautiful, absolutely beautiful. You can see they start to split, and that's when they taste really the best, when they swell and split a little bit. So this one's a little bit small, but it's a good one. The only way you'll ever get to eat them is if you put a net on your tree. As you can see, they're spilling out of the net and producing some more on the outside. So if you look over here, you'll see there's rain on its way. It's coming, lightning and rain is sweeping in. So we're closing the farming work.
There it goes.
For today. Here's some more little figgies coming out the top. They're going right through the net. So there's lots of them in there. They've just been very slow. Everywhere. Okay, so we're shutting up for the day, and we wish you all the best. Carolyn and I from Australia.
Bye.
Bye.